A while back I made a video trying to answer the question of whether or not it was safe to wear earplugs and headphones while riding a motorcycle. The answer was, yeah, mostly. With that question behind us, I went out and tried a whole bunch of different sets to figure out which ones work best for motorcycles. Let's go. I'm gonna let you in on a dirty secret. I've worn headphones while riding a motorcycle pretty much every day, save for maybe the first 6 months I was riding. In fact, the first thing I listened to music on while riding was a Microsoft Zune. That should give you a ballpark estimate how long ago this was. And when this guy pulled a gun on me, part of the reason I wanted to take my helmet off and I told him I couldn't hear him is because I had my headphones in. I try really hard to make my videos evergreen and not the ephemeral garbage that YouTube is mostly filled with. So yeah, I'm gonna review some specific products that may or may not exist when you're watching this in 2083 or whatever. But the goal is to try and show you the features and characteristics that make these headphones good for using with a motorcycle. The sets I'm gonna talk about specifically are the incredibly popular Apple AirPods, a motorcycle design set called the SlimBuds. I'm gonna talk about the entire category of audio-video systems like the Senas, and a couple different options from a company called Shure. Let's do it to it. Let's get right to discussing the headphone characteristics and features that you should look for when deciding what headphones to use in riding. Most importantly, you'll need headphones that fit comfortably under a full-face helmet, because I'm gonna assume if you go through all the trouble of wearing a helmet at all, it's something that actually helps with the crash. If you somehow live somewhere where a helmet isn't legally required and you never wear one, you can skip this requirement. Headphones also need to stay securely in your head, because stopping to constantly adjust them back into your ears is really annoying, or God forbid they just fall out doing the totally normal things I'm sure that you're doing while riding. I also established in my previous video that there is a real problem with hearing loss that can occur with long-term exposure to loud noises that motorcyclists are constantly surrounded by. So your headphones should help eliminate external noise through noise canceling or sound isolation. Using these fundamental criteria, let me talk about some of the options that come up in search results and in conversations I've had with riders all the time. AirPods.
Oh yeah, 500 bucks. Yep. I think I got that in my budget. Hey, nice.
I'm gonna tell you a poorly kept secret. I'm a huge Apple nerd, and I have been for a long time. I even worked for Apple for a couple years. So when AirPods came out, I jumped all over them. I could not wait to try them on my motorcycle. But I have to admit, they're actually a pretty bad option. Getting a helmet over your head while keeping the AirPods securely in your ears is nearly impossible, unless you get some sort of assistance keeping them pushed into your ears like a headband or some other alternative. For science. This was a mistake. This was a mistake. This was a mistake. Ow. Why did I do that? Without a helmet on your head, AirPods stay securely in your ears pretty easily due to their shape and weight, but that's only assuming that nothing attempts to dislodge them. The location and pressure of your cheek pads will likely put stress on the stems of the AirPods as your helmet shakes through normal riding, leading them to slowly dislodge from your ear canal. The fun part about AirPods is that they have a feature that detects when they are in your ear, and then they pause when you pull them out. This means you'll likely find that your music pauses randomly as they shake around inside your helmet. And if one side actually loosens all the way and falls out at speed, well, that's a pretty big issue with them being wireless and all. A set cost about $170, which is pretty expensive. If you do lose one side, the nice part is that Apple will sell you a single replacement. Finally, AirPods don't currently provide any noise canceling or sound isolation, so you're gonna have to crank up the volume to try and overpower wind noise, likely pushing you into the unsafe levels of sound volume. AirPods could be fine if your usual riding is done with a non-full face helmet and at lower speeds. You know, if you bop around in a Grom or a moped, maybe from cafe to cafe, writing that novel. You know, the one you've been working on for 3 years?
How you coming on that novel you're working on? Huh? Got a nice little story you're working on there? A big novel you've been working on for 3 years? Huh? Working on that for quite some time, huh? Yeah, talking about that 3 years ago. Yeah, been working on that the whole time?
AirPod motorcycle ranking, D. SlimBuds. In the interest of full disclosure, I've only ever had one company send me anything for free, and it was a company named EOS, who sent me a pair of their motorcycle-specific SlimBuds. They never paid me, but they did give me a set of SlimBuds with no strings attached, and I returned that kindness by sending them a novel back of suggestions on how they should improve them. Seriously, I'll post it in the description if you want to see how much of a picky asshole I can be with my tech products. The SlimBuds are a wireless combination of headphone and microphone. They're specifically designed to fit under helmets, and they do a good job of staying securely in your ears when putting your helmet on or taking it off. And they don't come loose while riding, so you won't have to worry about them flying off like other wireless sets. I did find that sometimes after long periods of riding or putting my helmet on and off repeatedly within short periods, there were some pressure points on my ears which gave me mild discomfort, and a lot of it was due to the microphone portion dragging against the bottom of my helmet. SlimBuds do have sound isolation technology that blocks external noise pretty well, allowing you to listen at reasonable volumes and preventing hearing damage. I also tested taking a few calls on them, and nobody had a clue I was writing, which is great. But trying to accept or initiate a call while writing was pretty challenging. If the call ends while you're writing, there wasn't a way to start music without going to your phone and starting it up. EOS is supposed to come out with some control thing someday that connects to your handlebars to fix a lot of this, but it was apparently delayed, and I wouldn't buy them on the promise that it would hopefully exist someday. Before I mention some of my complaints, I should mention that these things have insane battery life. I would run them for 10 to 12 hours before they needed to be recharged, which is crazy for something that's wireless. I had a lot of small complaints about the choices they made and little design aspects. From this annoying blue light that flashes every couple seconds, which I found to be very distracting in my helmet, which I guess is there to remind you that they are on even though they're in your ears and you can easily tell if they're on when they're making fucking sound. And a totally vain complaint that I think you look like a huge dork with them on if you take your helmet off to do something like have a bite to eat.
I look awesome.
Despite my complaints though, I think they're actually a top tier option for motorcyclists. If you really want to avoid wires, have the ability to take calls while riding, or have constant communication with riding buddies, and don't mind the higher price tag, I would say that SlimBuds are a solid but imperfect option. So B? Yeah, that sounds good. Let me take a second, since the SlimBuds get pretty close to the functionality of all these combined communication systems that either come in helmets or are like a unified audio video system. I'm talking about Senas, Cardo, SKULLY, Javish, all that shit. I know some people do lots of group rides with friends, or go on long road trips and still want to be able to communicate while riding. These systems do allow you to have that functionality, but most of these systems have the same critical problem. Although some advertise noise canceling or wind noise reduction, anything is going to be worse than something that actually creates a sealed barrier in your ear canal. You can see in user reviews that once you get to highway speeds, you're just going to be fighting wind noise by amping up the volume, likely pushing into the levels that start to harm your hearing. Second, and you can disagree with me if you think you can do this safely, but talking on the phone is a form of distracted driving, and it does have a cognitive load on everyone. You might be able to do it just fine, but I would encourage you to think a little bit whether you want to be that accessible while riding. Overall, these systems are expensive, do a mediocre to poor job protecting your hearing, and can be potentially distracting. So I give them a C-. Finally, let me talk about my daily driver for the last several years, the Shure SE series. Shure's well known in the audio recording industry as they make some of the most widely used studio microphones and headphones. The Shure SE series is a headphone set designed for artists to monitor their own sound during a live performance, while not getting in the way or looking totally stupid. They use a memory foam style bud that blocks out noise the same way a solid set of earplugs would, allowing you to keep volumes at safe levels. The headphones stay in your ear easily as they're designed to fit snugly inside your ear canal. In addition, every model I've ever used has a thin metal portion inside the base of the ear pod and then that goes out an inch or two, designed to hook around the back of your ears, reducing the weight from the cable and preventing them from popping out when you slide your helmet down past them or when it jostles around. There are a million different models of these things, largely just offering better fidelity or wireless functionality as they go up in price, but they all have nearly the same physical design, so you don't need to spend much more than a decent set of normal earphones for the privilege. The SE200 series is the sweet spot in my opinion, being a slightly smaller physical design than the lowest models, the 100 series. The sound quality is better than anything else you'd be able to fit under your helmet, without being exorbitantly expensive. You can usually find a pair of 200s for less than $100. If you want to save money, grab the wired 100 series for around $50. The biggest downside of the Shures is that you will inevitably build up a lot of earwax in these things, as I found that although they are water resistant enough to go through a run in the rain with, getting liquid into the actual speaker driver killed one of my pairs. The Shures provide the best balance of features and cost of anything that I've tried. They cover what most people will actually use their headphones for at a reasonable price, while protecting what little hearing we have left. Again, I know there are a million models of headphones out there. If you want to know if they work for riding, use the major considerations I've laid out here and the problematic aspects of what I found with popular stuff to make up your own mind. Also, don't forget, most places have a pretty generous return policy, so you can rent them for just a deposit. If you've finally fully embraced the idea of wearing headphones while riding and you don't have your own set and want to go with one of my recommendations, you will find links in the bottom of this YouTube video. Some of those are affiliate links, which means that I wet my beak a little bit when you buy it, which allows me to improve things around here. But if you hate that idea, just Google the models and buy it from your favorite Chinese knockoff store. Speaking of wetting my beak, this is the part in the video where I'm supposed to give you a call to action saying like and subscribe. I'm also told by YouTube that I should point you to my Patreon and ask you to support me there because it allows me to buy things like these lights that make these videos slightly less shitty. Until next time, ride fast and take chances.
Hi, dog. Hi. No, don't bite, don't bite, don't bite. Don't bite. Hey. It's mommy. Okay. Goodbye.